So let's get started. Go ahead and click the link in the description box down below. This is a link that will open up a page that looks just like this, inviting you to use the template that I have created. So go ahead and click Use Template. It will prompt you to log in if you haven't already. I highly encourage you to get a Canva account if you do not already have one. If you happen to be associated with a school and therefore have some kind of email that ends in .edu or something school related, such and such schools.net, I highly encourage that you use that email, because by having that type of email, you are automatically registered for an educator's account, which gives you access to all premium fonts, all premium graphics and illustrations, and everything that Canva has to offer for free. And I absolutely love Canva for that. But if you're not in a situation where you have an email that is associated with anything education, then just use your personal email. And it just so happens that the template that I have created can be used regardless of what kind of account that you have. I made sure I chose all free items, free fonts and whatnot to make that really simple for you. So let's jump right in and edit this program. You'll notice that I'm saying program instead of Playbill, and that is because what you may not know is that although we often refer to playbills as the program that you receive whenever you go see a show, that is actually the name of a company. There's a company called Playbill, and they're the ones who originally, designed and printed these show programs. And their company name is Playbill, and it is trademarked, which means by all technicality, you're not actually allowed to write Playbill across the top of your show program. So for the sake of avoiding potentially being sued, I highly recommend not writing Playbill up across the top, but instead choose something that represents your theater group. So you could be the such and such players, or for my example here, I wrote Tiger Theater because I feel like every school's mascot is a tiger. And so that could be something you could put there. Another example, you can always do a play on the word playbill. I used to work at a school where our school mascot was a yellow jacket, which is kind of like a wasp or a bee. And so I called it our show program the Play Buzz instead of the Playbill, because our mascot's name was Buzz. I don't know if yellow jackets actually buzz, but that is what I did, and that was kind of a clever way to not use the word playbill, but people still knew what it was about. So that is what I would put here on the cover. I have chosen a very neutral font that can work regardless of what genre of show you are producing, or whether it is a play or a musical. I've just chosen a very neutral font, and that is this Copperplate Gothic 30AB. But this is a template that makes a copy, so you can choose whatever you want to use for your show. Just, choose what fits your show. Use whatever colors you want. Likewise, I've chosen a white background because it's way easier on a printer. But if you want to do a solid colored background or a gradient or even an image, you go for it. You make this your own. I was just here to give you the foundation to create your program. So a few things you should know is that these boxes right here that I've placed around the pages, you can leave them on there if you want, but my recommendation is before you print, go ahead and delete them, because I was using these boxes as bleed lines or reference points for if you put, a piece of text or an image or something where it falls over that line, then you could potentially end up with it getting cut off whenever you print. So leave it on for now while you're designing, and then you can always move it later. So it looks like this box is actually at the very front of my design, meaning I can't click on anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and change the position on all of my bleed line boxes to send them to the back so that I can mess with everything else on the page. Much better. Okay, so now I can go in and I can double click on anything and change it. Maybe you want to, so I used Tiger Theater as an example, but maybe you work at North High School. So you want to type in North High Theater. And you have the ability to move letters closer together or lines closer together. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to move those a little closer together. And then this is the reason why I prefer Canva over Google Docs, is that you can just click and drag anything. You do not have to, I don't know, I feel like in Google Docs, every time you move something, everything else moves and gets shifted around, and then your formatting's all messed up, and it's very frustrating. So I love that with Canva, I can just drag and drop anything that I need. Oh, that looks nice. I like that. And I made North High a little smaller than the word theater. So I think that looks really good. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do first. If you wanted to make this box a color, you could do that. Maybe your school colors are, let's say blue and silver. So maybe you want to make the background on that blue, and that looks really nice. Even though playbills are traditionally yellow, so you could also kind of, you know, go that route and choose a yellow background if you want to. Ooh, I like that contrast there. Okay, then on the front page here, which by the way, I should have said this already, but this is a one-page playbill. It is printed front and back, and then you need to select, so you need to select front and back printing, and then flip on short side whenever it comes to printing front and back. So flip on short side, and then you will be able to fold it in half and create a playbill just like I showed in that kind of initial example. So this page that my cursor is on right now, this is the front cover of your playbill, and this page over here is the back cover. And then below, we have what will be the interior of your playbill. So I hope that makes sense. I went ahead and made up a random logo for this show, for, you know, our pretend show and our pretend theater, but you can change that to anything else that you want, so you can always grab your logo and put it in here. I'm going to leave this one just because it's already here, but you are able to upload your own photos. You can do that over here, or you can use Canva's elements to create your own. So that's an option as well. So I'm going to leave the logo for the show there because I'm happy with it. Down here at the bottom, I have written produced in association with Show Theatricals, which is obviously not a real company. But usually whenever you pay for rights and royalties to a show, there is something in your contract, make sure you read those contracts, folks, that says that you need to write somewhere on your program, produced in association with, and they'll actually usually include stipulations on how large the font needs to be and things like that. As a public school teacher, I do not overly concern myself with font size and things like that, but I do always make sure that I have that on the front of my show program. So I've written produced in association with Show Theatricals. Let's say, like, for example, I'm doing Wizard of Oz Young Performers Edition right now, and that's produced in association with Concord Theatricals. So I'm going to type that in instead. It did make my text box a little too long, so I'm going to make this slightly smaller. There, so now it all fits, and I'm really happy with how this cover looks. But let's say I wanted to include the dates. That's something I don't have on here already. So you can click text and then add a text box, and I can put that under here. And let's see, I'll just put my Wizard of Oz dates on there because those are fresh in my head. That is April 13, 14, and 15. 2023. Okay, so there's that. Put my dates on there, and I'll put that down here at the bottom. So if you wanted to include your dates, you could do that as well. It's up to you. This is your program. You do what works for you. All right, so now we get into the interior of the playbill. I have included 2 pages just to keep it super simple. If you want to add more pages, you can go down here to the bottom and click Add Page. Although personally, I would recommend hitting this button right here that says Duplicate Page. So if you want more than just, you know, a 1-page playbill that is folded in the middle, then you can hit duplicate page and you can add everything that you want. But keep in mind, printing becomes slightly more complicated whenever you add more pages, so just kind of run a couple test copies before you go too crazy with that. But for this super simple option that I'm providing, I have behind the scenes and cast. I say behind the scenes instead of crew because I don't always feel like the word crew encompasses the director, the assistant director, the choreographer, and that type of thing. So I just say behind the scenes, and I feel like that encompasses everybody and also allows me to include like my special thanks at the bottom. So I have director name, assistant director name. I like to also do asterisks to denote any seniors, or like I teach middle school right now. So for 8th graders, which is the oldest group of students that I work with, I make sure I put an asterisk next to their name and write 8th grade just to kind of let everybody know, like, this is one of their last shows with us. You know, they have seniority in this group. And I just think it's a nice little addition. But if you don't like that, you don't want to do that, then you can click on this and just delete it. If that's not your thing, then you can do that. I am going to go and put it back because I like to have it. Down here at the bottom, I included a special thanks. And that's the behind the scenes page. Again, it's super simple. You can double click on anything and edit it. Why is that font a different size? Let's see. So that font is a 14. It just looks smaller. It says it's a 14, but it looks smaller to me. Maybe my eyes are just a little off. Okay. Name. There we go. So that's, again, what I love about Canva is that you can edit all those things. And then likewise on the other side here, I have cast. I have enough room here for 20 rolls and then also a few ensemble, so plenty of space to put your entire cast on there. Now let's say I want to include some other images. For example, I am doing, like I said, I'm doing Wizard of Oz right now, so I'm going to use that as my reference point. Let's say I want to include, what's something for Wizard of Oz? I'm going to put a witch. Okay, so I type in witch, and there's all graphics, photos, videos, audio, frames. There's so many options, but I'm just going to stick to graphics. So let's go in here, and I think this witch looks really nice. So I'm going to add her in here. I just think that's a fun little addition. It's a little more specific to my show. What else could I do? I could do Dorothy's shoes, like red heels. I don't know if I'm going to find much. Oh my. These are not quite like Dorothy's heels. These are a little higher. Oh, but those are wonderful. And this does say EDU in the corner, which means it's only if you have an education account you can use it, but otherwise you probably wouldn't be able to. But I love those. Those are great. Those look just like Dorothy's shoes. So maybe I want to put those down here just to have, a little extra decor. And look, already this page looks more vibrant and a little more interesting to look at. There's also designs like, so up here it said frames. I wonder, let's see. So if I wanted to do like corner decor. See, I'm even bad at describing things and they still have options for me. So look, like here's this really cute floral corner piece that I could put down here in the corner. And again, just make sure you're staying inside those bleed lines that I've created. But now it's in front of my text, which is obviously a problem. So I just click position and then to back. And there's a cute little flower border, and I could put that on all my corners if I wanted to. So lots of options within Canva. So just think about what kind of show you're doing and find something that matches that, because there's so many options. Look, like here's candy canes or snowflakes if you're doing more of like a winter or holiday kind of show. Some very ornate options as well. There's just so much. There's so much available on Canva. I'm such a huge Canva fan. So this is how I'm going to leave my interior pages. You can drag, drop, change anything that you want to, but this is how I'm going to leave it. And now let's look at the back cover of our playbill. You could do a couple things here. Maybe somebody has purchased an advertising space and you could put that on the back cover. You could also include, I like to usually do a lineup of my shows for the season. So it might say like for the current school year I'm in would be 2022-2023 season, and I could write that across the top and then put the logos for the various shows that we've done that season. But I chose to include the information for Act 1, Act 2, and a little more information about the show here, but you can change that to whatever you want. So again, you can double click on anything and you can change the fonts on anything. Maybe you don't like this font, so maybe let's do, that's a fun one if that fits your show's vibe. Just remember, anything with like this little crown next to it means that you need to have an educator's account or you have to pay for Canva Premium, which by the way is totally worth it. I don't believe it's very expensive. And then also you can even, if you're like, oh, I don't know what kind of font I want, but maybe you want something that is, let's type in scary. Maybe I'm doing a scary show. So I can go in here and choose, yeah, like look, there's a spookier font. Ooh, this reminds me of Addams Family. Oh, that's fun. If I were doing Addams Family, I would totally do that font. Anyway, I hope that this gives you a good overview for the editing portion, but let's say that we are ready to print. This is the process you would go through. I recommend going through and deleting all of the bleed lines. So I've now deleted all of those. I would also go ahead and delete this center line. I just use that as a visual reference point for where the middle of my, like where my fold would be. But I would personally delete it. It is up to you. So now I've deleted everything that I need to delete and I'm ready to print my beautiful playbill. So I will click share, download, and I recommend doing a PDF print. So PDF print, I am going to flatten it. Whenever you flatten a PDF print, it means that your images aren't going to move around. Like they're pretty well locked into position. You know, sometimes like you print something and it doesn't look anything like what you thought it was going to because some of the formatting got weird or the fonts were not supported anymore, so they changed whenever you printed it. So go ahead and flatten that PDF because it just make sure everything stays where you want it to. I'm not going to include any crop marks or bleed, and I'm not going to include notes. I do want all pages, although let's say that you were playing around with this template and you added a bunch of pages that you're like, well, I don't want to delete them because I might want to use them in the future, but for now I don't need them. You can always uncheck whichever pages you don't need. But for now we're going to keep all these on there, and I think that's good. The CMYK color profile is for professional printing, but it's also premium, so I am good with RGB. All right, so we're going to download. And then I am able to print that. So super simple. Like I said, just make sure you do front and back, flip on short side, and then you go through and you can fold all of those playbills, and ta-da! You have a very professional looking show program that was really easy to make. And I hope that this helped you out. As a theater teacher, I know that we wear a million hats, and unfortunately that also means you need to be a graphic designer if you're the one making your show program. So I hope that this helped you out a little bit. If you enjoy theater or theater education related content, please like and subscribe to my channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, break a leg.